Along with the dairy, we have a feed storage solutions business. We call it AgRig. AgRig's been in business since 2014. We rent out silage baggers, hammer mills, and we go within 2 hours of where our dairy farm is. I'm going to show you some of that equipment, tell you a little bit about it, and then you guys can see what we're doing along with the dairy farm.
This video is sponsored by Major Dairy AI Services Limited.
So this is our 10-foot silage bagger. The first machine that we ever bought was a 10-foot silage bagger. Last year, I think, was our 9th year, and we traded that one in the spring, and we got this new ag bag machine. So this thing just does 10 foot. You can do 10 by 150, 10 by 200, 10 by 250, or 10 by 300. This is a T70-170, so it's a new model that AgBag came out with, I think in 2022 or something like that. They're made in Wisconsin. Really happy with this machine. It does 10, like I said, 10 footers. That puts about 1.5 tons of feed away per foot. We do about 30 of these per year, 4 or 5 for ourselves and about 25 for custom bagging. So yeah, it's been a good machine. So bagging is just another way to store feed on a farm. This machine packs it, and when it hits a certain PSI, so a certain pressure, there's brakes in here, and they let go of the disc and lets the machine jump ahead by like 1/2 inch at a time, and then those brakes tighten again, and then it keeps packing, and you can adjust the pressure for the moisture of the feed. But anyways, it's just another way to store feed on a farm. It works great for us, works great for smaller dairies, anybody under 200 cows. If you go to the US, lots of guys under 500 cows are using them. How it works is this conveyor brings it up into the machine. There's a rotor inside that packs the feed. A wagon will pull up beside the machine, and it'll feed out into the conveyor, and then the conveyor throws it in. And then when that wagon's done, it pulls away, and then the next wagon comes in. So this is our 8-foot silage bagger. We've had this since year 3 of AgRigs. This machine I bought brand new from a dealer in Ontario. It does 8-foot silage bags, so 8 by 100s, 150s, 200s. 200 is as long as we can go with the cables we have on this machine. It's been a really good machine. Farmers are happy with it. It does a really good job. Now I'll take you over to my brother Dave's, where we have some equipment stored in his shed. So here we have AgRig's hammer mills lined up. So this is a bagger hammer mill. Same with that one, a bagger hammer mill. So they're both 4120s. They're called Lancasters. They're from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So this one hammers the feed and packs it into an 8-foot bag. And this one hammers the feed and packs it into a 6.5-foot bag. This one we've had for about 5 seasons. We're going into the 5th season, and this one did 1 season. It'll be going into its 2nd season this fall. So this is the same type of hammer mill. They call it a 4120. This has a blower on it, so this is for tower silos. It grinds the corn finer. The corn packs tighter, and the animals, whether it's beef cattle or dairy cattle, get more out of the corn because corn is hard to digest for animals. So the finer it is, the more they can digest out of that corn, the better bang for your buck. So these can pump through a decent amount of tonnage per hour when you put at least 200 horsepower on it. So for these hammer mills, there's different screen sizes that we can put in. All the hammer mills have 3 different size screens. So there will be a size in here that's probably a little finer than this. It goes in here. So that is a very fine screen. Not sure, yeah, I did, but this one we rented out for a guy that did barley. I believe that's why this really fine screen is in there. So the end of June or beginning of July, a guy rented it for barley and did high moisture barley. So you can swap the screens out, put in whatever size you want according to how fine you want the corn. If your preference is speed and you're not so concerned about how fine it is, you can put a larger screen size in. If it's higher moisture, like over 30%, you need something a little larger because the wetter it is, the harder it is to feed through the screens. And if you're doing dry corn, then you can go with a finer screen also. So yeah, it's good for dry corn, barley, any type of grains. It's mostly high moisture corn that we use them for. Yeah, really happy with these machines. and stand behind the principle of the corn getting finer. That's why I'm not a fan of roller mills. We've tried them on the farm with high moisture, and it just doesn't get the corn fine enough. It doesn't pack near as well as hammered corn, unless it's fairly high moisture rolled corn, but you're still not getting as big a benefit out of the corn, I don't think. We had trouble with corn heating up when we rolled it, and you can feed less of this, whether it's tower silo, bunk silo, or bag, and your corn will stay cooler because it's packed tighter with these. So here's our Dodge 2500. We use this one for probably mostly the side business, hauling baggers around and hammer mills, because you need a heavy truck for that, and then a little bit for the farm. This doesn't get a pile of mileage on it, maybe 15 to 20,000 kilometers a year, kind of that 10 to 15,000 miles. But it's been a pretty good truck. You're going to get the idea that we like new equipment, we like newer vehicles. I'd rather have warranty than stuff that breaks down. I'd rather have payments than payments to the repair guy and downtime. So I'll be looking to trade this truck in soon. I am not sentimental to anything other than my family. But when it comes to equipment, I'm happy to trade it in. So this truck should be traded in soon to avoid issues. The last thing I need is downtime in the busy season and then having to borrow or rent a truck, and then you're paying big money for that, or you're late for a job because your truck isn't working. So that'd be one of the next things we do maybe in a couple of years, is trade this thing in. We'll just take good care of it till then. So some of the benefits of bagging is if you don't have any storage at your farm, it's an easy way to all of a sudden put some feed away and not have to invest in any concrete. We love bagging our haylage because on a smaller farm, it's hard to feed a lot of haylage out of, say, a pit silo. If you don't have silos, you maybe have pit silos. This you can feed a foot or two off the face of it and keep it really fresh. A great way to get the haylage out, if you're feeding with a skid steer, is going in with a pallet fork and digging up in two spots to loosen up the feed a little bit. We do that every day, and then it's a lot easier to pull it out. And the corn silage you don't have to, because it comes out really easy anyway. So those are some of the benefits of bagging feed. And as you can see, this feed is really nice. You can bag drier feed, you can bag feed that has high moisture. Some other feed storage options that are out there are kind of limited on what the moisture is at for the feed you're putting away. Whereas with bag feed down to, say, 40% moisture, right up to 72% moisture. It's not ideal when it's over 70%, but you just back the tension off of the bagger and it still packs it good. We've had good results, even if it's that wet. I like it between 65 and 70. I find that's a good moisture and it packs nicely. And corn silage, you can do anywhere from 55 to 70% moisture also. So one benefit to bagging haylage, especially on a farm our size, is we can have a bag of haylage open for the milk cows and a bag of haylage open for the either dry cows or heifers. And we can keep two open at a time. Whereas sometimes if you have a silo, you need to focus on one silo because it'll start to heat up. Or if you have a bunk silos or pit silos, you need to focus on one silo to keep up to the face, because the face of a bag is so much smaller than the face of either a tower silo or a pit silo. You can have a couple bags open at a time and be able to keep up with it. So we'll have feed that's lower in protein, that's a little bit older, that we use for the heifers, and then we'll have rich feed that we feed to the milk cows. And one other benefit is second and third and fourth cut can sometimes be a very small volume crop on a smaller farm, especially if you don't get a lot of rainfall. And then we can use our 8-footer, make one small 8-foot bag of haylage and get into that bag when we want to, but feed it every day that amount of second or third or fourth cut, and only feed that. Here's our corn silage bag that we just opened a couple days ago. So this is from last fall. Obviously, it's nice to have your bags on gravel. If you're going to have them on dirt, I would only recommend feeding that in the summer months when it's going to be dry. Bags on dirt definitely is not ideal, but if you can do them on gravel, break up the face of your bag with your skid steer so you're not spinning in the gravel and making a mess of your gravel yard. Keep trimming the plastic, flick the feed back when you're done. Every time I'm done, I go like this, you put the feed back and you can keep it really neat. Don't go out with big full buckets of feed to your mixer and losing feed all over your yard, because you'll just have a big muddy mess. If you're a little bit fussy, you can keep your yard really neat. As for spoilage or feed loss, with bags, we find it's almost zero. You probably have a little bit of shrinkage due to the fermenting of the feed, but essentially, as you can see, like, we are not losing anything all the way around. The feed is perfect, and we just keep flicking the plastic back to keep the bottom feed from spilling out onto the gravel, and we feed every shovelful of feed to the cows. So it's really good that way.
Spiderweb? Whoa. Get it off?
Well, one of them.
Whoa, look at that thing. Doesn't want to focus on it. Whatever. Carry on.